personally, like, I have a lot of respect for immigrants and like what they stand for and like their role that they play in the country when it comes to like being hardworking like people and like making sure that the job gets done and just like overall being like who like true to themselves no matter how many factors are being pitted against them. So I feel like it's like in my personal opinion it is really important that immigrants get the recognition and just all the recognition that they deserve.
So what you be ordering from the Chinese store? You strike me as a General Tso's
I
chicken type of person.
yes I
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Mm.
Nice, nice. I see. I could clock. I know my students, man. I could clock them. Let's see it.
I am the son of an immigrant, and I also am of the belief that America is a country that was built by immigrants. The foundation of America as a nation was built by immigration and different cultures. America is a melting pot of different cultures. I am the son of a Nigerian immigrant, and Nigerian culture and just being from a multicultural background is very important to who I am and to who millions of Americans are. Like Ramses, my best friend is Dominican. He is a Dominican immigrant, and just being exposed to his family and his culture has been very eye opening. I think that as a whole, we take immigrants and their culture that they in the culture that they bring, the things that they share, such as food, tradition, we take that for granted, and I feel like
Yes.
as Americans, we should have more respect for it.
Yeah.
It's true. So it's crazy that you say your best friend is Dominican, because when I was in high school, since I was part of the wrestling team, all my closest friends were Nigerian, Nigerian and Liberian. I still hang out with them to this day, man. But yeah, so we established, right? Like we know, like like you said, U.S. is a country of immigrants. Other than Native Americans, none of our ancestors really here for more than 500 years. But then, do you feel like the way that the media talks about immigrants, do you feel like it honors that heritage?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Why not?
Absolutely not. For example, let's use the Native American people for an example. There was this very good show called Reservoir Dogs. Wait, no, wait, Reservation Dog.
No, it's just wait.
It's
Oh yeah, you're right. It's a Reservoir Dogs.
that it was made by Native Americans and shot in Oklahoma on a Native American reservation. Great show, great exposure to Native American culture, and doing a film program in the city where I met a person of Native American heritage showed me how culturally rich they are and how much we robbed them. I mean, like I think we can all understand and recognize that American settlers' treatment of Native American people and how we exploited or how they exploited them was completely unfair, and we are living on stolen land. And I think that show existing and opening people's eyes to their culture and the experience of growing up on a Native American reservation is very important.
So I'm digging what you're saying, right? I'm digging what you're saying. But you told me that you're giving me a positive depiction, right? But you told me that there's some negative depictions. I feel like we might have some kind of statistics that your instructor researched that could be helpful in depicting how immigrants are fairly unfairly depicted. But that's just me. I remember when I first came to this country, I was in a daycare. And once the kids found out that I was Caribbean, they asked me, "Oh, so you're a pirate?" Because Pirates of the Caribbean was really popular. And honestly, like, it was silly, but it was so overwhelming and dehumanizing. Like, they were like, "Oh, so you were cutting people's heads off?" And I'm like, "I don't even know what y'all are talking about, bro." But yeah, it's weird. Like, it's like people have like these ideas of marginalized communities. Like, oh, Native Americans are this way, immigrants are that way. It's weird. Well, any other examples from media y'all can think about?
I just think like overall, this isn't even like within media, but like throughout like history, which will be taught in history classes or history books. Anytime they'll speak of like a marginalized community, it's almost always painted in a bad light. And I think this can go. You can date this back to colonization, where a lot of racism and everything bad started, or you can date it to like before that. Because I remember I was also talking about. I mean, I was also learning about like the Native American. I think it was reservations. Yeah, I was also learning about that in my AP US history class, and um how they were painting Native American people and how they were treating Native American people. But I feel like in terms of like today's media, I think it's a bit more blatant and, you know, a bit more like they aren't even trying to hide, I guess, their biases and like, not, I don't know if biases is the right word, but
Bigotry.
like their what?
Bigotry.
Yeah, their bigotry towards, you know, immigrants and people of color overall. Like often they're just considered to be not hardworking people when in relation to, or according to the Pew Research, um acor- immigrants are only 15.4% of the population that makes up 19% of the workforce. So clearly, it isn't true at all that immigrants aren't hardworking, because the statistics proves that wrong. Yeah.
So the reason why the statistics prove it wrong is because imagine you have 50, what this basically is saying in very rough terms is imagine you have a group of 15 people and they're doing the work of 19 people basically, right? Which to me it doesn't sound very lazy, frankly. But yeah. So moving on from the media, right? Um what are some things you've always wondered about being an immigrant, right? You guys got you got an immigrant right here. Have you guys ever had any questions? Anything you ever wondered about? Like, what is it? Like, I don't know. Like, how do you deal with not having any of your family around? Stuff like that.
I mean, how is adjusting to the different environment?
What's Is there any question you've always wanted to ask your dad?
That's a loaded question, man.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, my dad has lived in America since he was 13, but he's still very Nigerian. Even spending most of, although he spent most of his life in America,
Okay.
he's still very culturally Nigerian.
Mm.
He's always speaking in Yoruba. He's a very culturally imposed man. He's very, and I wonder how difficult it was for him to stay connected to his culture. Because I used to speak a little bit of Yoruba when I was younger, but I can't anymore. I didn't learn it.
That's right. Oh. What do you guys think? How would you stay connected? Do you guys face any similar struggles? Is there any time like let's say like Bernadette, right? You're Muslim. Is there any time you felt like, man, like I'm not in a Muslim? Well, maybe not, because Philly's a real Muslim city, so never mind. I don't know, but I feel like it's an experience. My point is, it's an experience everybody goes through. You know, like we all have to, we all have to stand on business at some point.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not connected to Dominican culture whatsoever. My cousin yells at me about it all the time. I moved here to the United States when I was 6 years old. And I've been speaking English my entire life, basically, like literally since I was 3 years old. I used to have an Australian accent because an Australian woman taught me to speak English. I can't do it anymore. Don't ask me to do it. But yeah. I mean, honestly though, it's tough. The way my cousin does it, I mean, it's tough because sometimes the stuff you're hanging on to, like the culture you're hanging on to, isn't the culture anymore. It's the culture from 20 years ago, right? So now it's like you feel silly because it's like I'm still watching Dragon Ball Z, and now all Dominicans are on Jujutsu Kaisen, you know? So it's that type of thing, I guess. It's hard. But shout out to your dad for being able to do it. Makes sense. How does he feel about your hair?
Oh yeah, that's another thing. I feel like being Nigerian American is a really interesting intersectionality. Growing up, I was really ashamed of being African. I feel like the media depicts African people, or like especially back in like 2016, 10 years ago. It was just okay to be bigoted on the internet, make jokes, like those old vines. It was just okay to be racist and make slights at your own community. And growing up, it made me kind of ashamed of being Nigerian, of being African, having an African name, being dark skinned. And even then, the way the media represents immigrants as a whole isn't accurate. I mean, undocumented immigrants are heavily overrepresented on TV. 63% of, in reality, only 24% of immigrants are undocumented, and 63% are
Here legally.
here
basically,
legally.
yeah.
And I feel like that isn't fair.
Mm. Why not? I mean, hey, like, I mean, according to society, you could say white people won. White people, they conquered everything. They stole all the land. They own all the media. Why is it not fair that they depict us that way? They're completely in control. What's unfair about it? I mean, I think it's unfair. I just want to, I'm curious.
To that, I ask, why are they so adverse to us living in peace? And why are they so adverse to being? Have you ever heard of the Great Replacement Theory?
You're talking about white genocide?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there was this interview a while back where this Asian man was interviewing this white man, and he was asking, why are white people so afraid of being replaced as the majority in America? And I feel like that's the root of why immigrants are so heavily ostracized.
Yeah. I think it also goes into saying, like, why do they feel like they can have that under their jurisdiction? Why do they feel like they should be able to have the power to make millions of already marginalized communities feel even more marginalized and feel even more like they don't belong and feel like they're in a position where they need to feel displaced simply because of their background or how much harder they had to struggle to get where they are now? It's just that's why it's unfair, I think.
Makes sense to me. So, I guess kind of like to wind this down a little bit, right? I mean, we're not talking about immigration for no reason, obviously, right? There's been a lot of stuff going on with the government, with law enforcement, and obviously, with all the news going on, frankly, with all the violence just going around today, we are still people. We still need to de-stress. We still need to kind of recover, relax. So the way that I like to relax is I watch international movies. I watch like movies from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Burkina Faso, cuz it reminds me like, the world isn't just the United States. There's like all of humanity deserves to be heard. All of humanity deserves to live in peace and happiness and make beautiful art, right? And so remembering that people are capable of it, that there's still people out there in spite of it all making beautiful art, that helps me relax. So yeah, how about you guys?
Me I'm kind of on that same route. Like personally, I do like watching foreign films, but I also like watching films that are, I guess, set a few decades like earlier, like I guess in like the 80s and 90s. I'm not saying racism wasn't happening back then, it most definitely was, but I feel like it wasn't very prominent in like the media that they put out. They were a lot more focused on like putting out coming of age films, romance films. Not everything was about racism all the time, or at least in the movies that I see. So watching like films that were made earlier that have like a more like happy, uplifting feel, it reminds me that like not everything is bad out there. Some things are good.
That's a good point. I want to remind y'all, you are not a bad person because you don't want to see, all the graphic stuff that's on the news. It can be overwhelming. If you want to be present for the people that need help, you need to take a break and push it back. But yeah, sorry to interrupt you.
I would say like going outside, touching grass, I think that's always good and important, to clear your mind.
Dorian, you got anything to say?
I think spending quality time with the people you care about can help de-stress. Like I always hang out with my best friend. It's good to talk to him, talk about things that I can't really speak about with other people, and I think that can help de-stress and cope with the way the world is.
Cool. All right. Thank you guys so much. So I'm going to be headed out for the next segment. Actually, I think we're about to go on a music break, and I'll let Karma take over for that. I'll see you. I'm about to go get my students some papas.
Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully, you enjoyed the music. So, diving right back into it, our second segment today is about third spaces or places. For our audience members who may not know, a third space is a space that is separate from the home, the first space, and separate from work or school, the second space. This term was coined by sociologist Ray Oldenburg and Karen Christensen in their 1989 book, The Great Good Place. In it, they assert that third spaces are necessary for a sense of community and for civic engagement.
Okay. Hey guys, we have someone new on camera, so introduce yourself.
Hi, my Hi, my name is Leah.
Okay. And one important thing to note is that these third spaces have specific qualities. It isn't just any area that you gather. The seven qualities a third space has to have is it has to be open and inviting. It has to be comfortable and informal. It has to be convenient in terms of location and time. It has to be unpretentious or neutral, down to earth vibe. It has to have regulars who go there consistently. It has to have conversation as the main activity and lots of laughter, most importantly. Examples of these could be like places of worship, bookstores, libraries, cafes.
That's a lot of information. But to start off our discussion, I want to ask you, do you think it's possible to have a space where everyone is accepted and equal? Do most Philly teens have access to a space like that? Why or why not?
Um, you want to start? You can start.
Yeah, I think it is more than well possible for there to be like a third space where where everyone is accepted and equal. Do I think that there are a lot of places like that in Philly? Not really, because I feel like there are not a lot of third spaces in Philly overall as like a matter of fact, there just really isn't. Recreational centers are constantly being closed down. Teens are not being able to enter like any cafes or just anywhere. But I think like it is possible for an environment like that to exist. And do most Philly teens have access to places like that? Personally, I don't think so. Not from what I know now.
I think a lot of Philly teens are specifically disadvantaged in the way that like we aren't given the right resources and the right access to third spaces. And also like certain businesses and communities don't want to open themselves up to Philly teens. Uh, there was this pizza place that me and my friends used to go to after school, and after we graduated, they closed it down. I don't know why, but they also started to like ban kids from coming in after school. So I feel like a lot of third spaces that could be available to teens either aren't a lot of Philly teens aren't lucky enough to have access to, or just are being actively closed off to them.
Okay, I agree with both of you. I think that, like, ideally, it is possible for us to have a place where, you know, everyone is accepted and equal. But as you guys are saying, like, if there's not any places that are as accessible to teenagers, then everyone is not accepted and equal in those spaces. Because if they are not open for teens, or like maybe teens are like being closed out from these spaces, then we're like, how is that equal and accessible? I think that there are like some spaces in Philly that are accessible for teenagers, like different organizations. They have a space for teenagers, like an organization like PhillyCAM, a space for teenagers here. So I think there are some spaces in Philly. I think that they might not be as known to like everyone, but I think there are spaces. Just have to be more outreach for these spaces.
Yeah.
I mean, even the few rec centers that are left, not few. I mean, it's Philly. There are a lot of rec centers, but I mean, they're actively being shut down. Some of them are losing funding, uh, and I feel like the ability for people to have a community and have a place where they can come together and play a game of basketball is important, especially
Yeah.
growing up.
What do you think, Leah?
I feel like not only is it just like spaces for teens to be, but also like spaces that teens can actually go to for free, like,
Mhm.
or not even just teens, like people in general too.
Mhm.
Like, also like malls are shutting down too. Like you don't really see a lot of them
Mm-hmm.
often.
Adding on to,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was just like, yeah, even like the spaces that are known for like community gathering, like Leah said, even the mall, like they basically took everything out of the mall or well, like the fashion district. They don't let kids in there at all. Like they'll ID you even if you look 18. I mean, not if you even if you look under 18. Like I remember they ID'd me once and I was so glad to show them my ID cuz they were so sorry. I was like, yes, I am 18. But like they're like really strict over there. They don't play like if you're like a high school student, if they see you with a book bag, you're out. Like and I just think it's really not that serious. Like I understand like for safety reasons, like y'all have like multiple businesses, yes and that. And like I know teens might be getting up to stuff. I'm not saying like that's not a case. I know it is a case, but I just feel like it's no reason why teens should be treated this way. And like I feel like the way they're treated is just like so unwelcoming. And I feel like really the city has no reason to treat teens like that. I mean, like, if you're not going to give them a space after school to go, if you're not going to give them, like, a place to go in between school and home, then is where are they supposed to go, really? Like,
Yeah.
you can't just shut them out of every place to exist. They need somewhere to go.
I agree, but adding on to what you were saying about like, you said like some teens might be getting up to stuff. The Journal of Child Protection and Practice conducted a study on third spaces involving like teenagers, early teens, and 68.3% expressed having regular access to third spaces and significantly reduce the risk for behavioral problems. So my question would be, so what are some barriers do y'all think that prevents some teens from having access to these spaces, and why and what is it that third spaces provide that school and home may not provide?
Absolutely, socioeconomic status is the main barrier.
Yeah.
I mean, like a kid, a rich kid who lives in like Chestnut Hill, it doesn't have the same, has way more opportunities for being in third. I mean, I went to school in Chestnut Hill for like 5 years. There are a lot more third spaces in that area than like
Yeah.
Cheltenham, uh,
Mm-hmm.
or like West Philly. And even like going back to the mall, a child with or a teenager with parents who are financially well off could have a lot more fun and do a lot more things and are a lot more free to explore the city and be in the mall or do a lot of things that cost money because we live in a capitalist society that
Mhm.
kids with lower socioeconomic statuses couldn't do. I mean, we live in a city that has a low amount, a high amount of
People in
people in
poverty.
poverty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well as like single parent households. So I feel like especially like in Philly, I often see a lot of teenagers taking responsibilities of like adults. So a lot of teens might not have time for those activities. They're often like taking care of, younger siblings. They're often making sure that they have to go to work and stuff like that. So I feel like that also plays a barrier in the situation. And also like you said, like in Chestnut Hill, I feel like it'll be easier for kids who live down there to have access to those opportunities because those opportunities are everywhere. Like I'll go down Chestnut Hill and it's like flyers and like cafes of like this after school club or like soccer and yes and that, but you're not gonna see that down North Philly. Like no offense, like you're really not. You're not gonna see flyers for like teen media clubs. Is really, I feel like if you live in a more, I guess, like not well off part of the city, like you're just not going to be open to those opportunities overall because nobody is actively offering it as an option.
Okay, so what do y'all think like third spaces like what do you think that they provide like and like why is it that they like people who have access to those third spaces that they have reduced risk of behavioral issues? Like what is it that third spaces provide you that school and home don't?
I feel like teenagers who aren't in advantaged positions to be able to access third spaces are also more likely to not have like not ideal home environments. There's an overwhelming amount of single parent households in the city, impoverished households in the city, uh, and the more likely you are to be of money, the more likely you are to come from a household that can support you. Uh, Having both parents there is very important. Having a support system is also equally as important. And the less fortunate you are, the less likely you are to have those support systems. And third spaces can provide uh, a space away from home if you live in a, God forbid, abusive household where you can de stress, where you can bond with your peers, where you can have fun and be free from those responsibilities or the pressure.
Yeah. I think
Um, wait, what was the question?
The question was, so what do, like, for those who have access to third spaces, like the statistic is that they are less at risk for like behavioral problems. So like, what is it that third spaces provide that like schools and homes don't, that will help with like behavioral issues?
I think third spaces probably provide more community and give you more chances to like get better at socializing, having more friends, and I guess like just yeah, like just community in general. Like I just
Yeah, I think like adding on to that, like you don't have that pressure of like, your family roles, like you were saying, Doyen, about like some people have like more complex family backgrounds and stuff like that. And like even at school, like you don't have that fear of, being watched by like your teachers or like being graded and evaluated. So I think that adds to it. And also like it gives you like a sense of like, even like in your early teens, like giving you a sense of independence, but still like that supervision, that structure, instead of like just being roaming the streets, you know what I mean, where you don't have any type of supervision. So I think that adds to like, why third spaces are good and needed in more communities.
yeah. Overall, I think it just offers a middle ground, a place that's away from stress from school and a place that's away from stress at home. Because I know everyone needs it, no, regardless of if you're a teen or adult. I think adults might find places like that in cafes. Teens might find places like that in, recreational centers if they may be open, or like after school activities. So it's really just a place to get away from everything and to find, what it is that you like, what makes you calm, and I guess really what fulfills you.
Yeah, so what do y'all think? So, like, to close the segment off, what are y'all favorite third spaces?
Okay. Libraries. There's this library near my house that I used to go to all the time, and I wish I still went as much as I used to when I was a kid. But yeah.
I like I like cafes, specifically the one at my school. After hours, it's always like very empty, so it's nice to have it to myself.
my favorite. I mean, there's like this store in Chestnut Hill. It's like called Chill on the Hill,
Oh, I love
and
chilling.
I like hanging out with my friends and just having frozen yogurt.
Yeah, I think my favorite is like cafes. I really just like a chill. Like I'm not very picky. I just love a chill, calm environment, like where I can just relax. So yeah, that's what I would say my favorite third space is. Um, any closing remarks?
Okay. Well, we're gonna go on another music break.
When we get back, we'll have a little game of Jeopardy. So please don't forget about us. We're listening to WPPM-LP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. Guys, stay tuned. Don't leave us. Okay, welcome back, guys. So we're gonna play a little game of Jeopardy, Valentine's Day edition. We have our hosts.
Hi, my name is Leah.
Hi, my name is Karma.
And my name is Bernadette, and me and Karma are going against each other. So let's see. Start us off with
Hey,
the
first question.
First question: when is Valentine's Day? I guess
February 14th. Yep. Mhm.
that is correct.
Yep. Mhm. Yay.
What is the most popular flower for Valentine's Day?
roses. Correct. It's like, no, it's not correct. Yes, I'm correct.
What other flower would it be? I feel like no other flower is popular on Valentine's
That is
Day.
correct. And what percent of Americans say they celebrate Valentine's Day?
Ah.
What percent? Uh, these days it gotta be like
40.
20.
Yeah, that's correct.
20?
Or 40. Like,
It's like 60.
60 people is a lot. I mean, not 60 people. 60% of people is a lot. I feel like nobody even like be caring about Valentine's Day anymore.
What is the second most popular Valentine's Day gift?
Um,
teddy bears.
yeah. Well, I can't say that. I guess flowers.
Cake.
Yeah, flowers.
Chocolate.
Hey, flowers.
Which company popularized chocolate for Valentine's Day?
Reese's.
Yeah.
Which one? Hershey's or Reese's?
Oh, Reese's. I
Hey.
only heard Reese's.
Am I winning?
I think I'm winning.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, no, you're winning.
What does XOXO mean?
Hugs and kisses.
Which bird is associated with Valentine's Day?
Dove.
Oh, you won. You won.
What's the most popular love song?
Love Keisha Cole.
I don't know.
I Will Always Love You.
Oh, Whitney Houston.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
I was thinking that.
What percent of Americans buy their pet Valentine's Day gifts?
15%.
I hope like 2.
Yeah,
But what are you gonna buy him? You can't buy him chocolate. Flowers.
35?
Wow.
Maybe I should start
Maybe a new bed.
a new bed for
Yeah,
Valentine's
a new
Day.
bed.
A bed and some socks.
Some little booties.
Who shoots bows and arrows and wears a diaper?
Cupid.
I didn't know that.
What percent of couples go out for Valentine's Day?
Like 80.
50.
35?
Mm.
I was actually shocked by that.
I know, right?
What do white roses represent?
Purity.
That's what I would.
Period. And that's the last question. So
Okay, well, thank you for watching us. We already know who won, but we all made really good
Okay.
efforts. We played really good, and I hope you guys enjoyed.
And next segment, we're gonna have Leah and Doyen and our guest Camille, and they're gonna be talking a little bit about love and like their experiences with love. So let's welcome our next host and guest. So we gotta get out the frame.
Hey everyone, we've been talking a lot of we've been talking about a lot of interesting topics today, and we saved the best for last. Me and Leah are going to interview our guest here, Camille. Nice to meet you.
Hello, hello.
About not just romantic love, but platonic love and familial love too.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk with you guys about it. Oop, I locked you out.
Mm.
Oop, 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 oop. There you go.
So, first question: what do you think is different about love today compared to how it was back then?
What is different about love today compared to how it was back then? I think maybe love today is a little bit freer. Like, I think people are like open to different ways that love can look and be expressed. Like, I think there's been like a cultural shift towards valuing platonic love more than we used to. And also like love looking different types of ways, like different types of couples and different types of pairings. Like, I think there's just like a overall shift towards like accepting love in any way it comes, which is kind of a beautiful thing in my opinion.
Okay, second question:
Mhm.
how did couples communicate before phones and texting?
It's funny because I'm actually like not really old enough to truly say from experience. Like, I think like I got my first phone when I was in like 5th grade or something, and that's when they were first kind of popping. So I feel like I really don't know. I imagine just from like speaking to each other. I hear like older people talk a lot about like how there used to be a bigger culture of like courtship. Like, it used to be like, I don't know, people would do more things to like express their love for one another because like the person that you liked wasn't so accessible to you, you know what I mean? Like through a phone or some sort of gadget.
Like how those birds be dancing? Is that how y'all was moving back in the day?
Maybe so. I don't know. I wasn't around to see it, but that's kind of what I imagine sometimes. I'm like, something had to be happening to make this stick. Yeah.
Leah, you ask the next question.
do you think love was simpler back then, or just different?
Ooh. Um, I think maybe just different. I think sometimes you could argue that love back then was simpler because, like, in many ways, like, love and partnership and marriage was more essential, like, especially for women. Like, it was a sense of duty, you know? And I think now that, like, again, love is freer, you have more choices in terms of, like, what you want to do and what you want to tolerate and, like, you know, what kind of situation you place yourself in. So I think there's complexity for either, but I think it's just different, not necessarily.
What is the lesson you learned about love from your parents, elders, or adults?
Ooh. I think kind of similarly to like it came out in what I just said. Like, I think the adults in my life, like my parents and grandparents, really instilled that love is like a practice. Like, it's a sense of like commitment and duty. You know, like it's like you can love based on feeling, but like the decision to continuously love and to like walk and live in love is a choice day in and day out. And I think like that was very eye opening for me because I think like in like movies and media, it's like you have love or you don't, or it fades away or it finds you. And it's like, yes, but like I think it's more complex than that. And so it's cool to see like my grandparents have been married like 55 years or something. And that's what they always say. They're like, we had to like hold it down and decide that being together was more valuable than being comfortable sometimes, which is interesting. Like, that's a thing that people have to weigh. Oop.
Thank you. Personal question: what does love mean to you?
Ooh, that's a big question. What does love mean to me? Okay, this is kind of like there's no way to answer this question without being cheesy. But like love is like I think like kind of the force that makes the world go round. Loki. Like I think like none of
Okay.
this could happen. Like none of anything could happen without like a sense of love and desire and like I don't know. Like even in a non-romantic sense, like being drawn to something is just like something that we like naturally do as humans, and I think we've like romanticized that desire and like called it love, but it really just fuels us as people, which I think is pretty cool.
Going back to like what you said, non-romantic love, platonic love.
Mm-hmm.
What is the difference that you see in friendships today versus friendships
Ooh.
back then, like positive and negative differences?
Ooh, okay. So I think something that's interesting about friendships today is that they can look really different. Like I think like I imagine when like my mom was growing up, like her friends were very dependent on who was immediately in her life, like who went to school with her, who did an extracurricular with her. And those things are all still true, but like now with the internet, like you can have friends in Japan and you live in Philly. You know what I mean? Like you can have friends all on the internet. Like I think that like friendship, there's like little like pods and communities online and like discords and like all kinds of things that like bring people together in these like little specific ways that I think make friendship so much more complex. Like there's like digital friends and then like school friends and work friends and like there's so many different categories that have expanded over time, which I think is really cool. But then I think it's kind of like it's a pro and a con because like with having friends that you meet digitally comes the like absence of physical closeness, which can affect like how intimate those relationships can be, or it can make them very intimate. Like it's really dependent on like your intention, like and how much effort you put into like cultivating something strong, platonic or romantic.
What advice would you give your younger self about love?
Ooh. Um wow, there's probably a lot. If I had to pick one thing, I think it would be like love is like something you nurture. It's not really something you need to chase. Like it's like and that's an interesting line to walk. Like it's something that you support and you maintain and you like water it like a plant, but like don't overwater it. Like it'll come to you as it comes to you. Um and yeah, I think that's it for young me.
Yeah.
What values do you hope are passed on to the next generation?
Ooh. I think that we're like at a point culturally where like things were super digital and now we're like returning to a sort of like touch grass era where people want to be like aware of what's really going on in their lives and like in touch with reality. And I hope that that sticks through to like the next generation. It's like maintain like the resources you have to be connected to people, but also be like in tune with like what's really happening, what's really yours, and what you have control over.
Um, what did friendship mean to you when you were a kid? Or
Ooh. Um, the first word that comes to mind is community. I think that like I mean community is like a necessary thing for humans to thrive like naturally. And so like it really did feel like as necessary as water in many ways to have like friends and community and loved ones. Yeah. Yeah.
when you look at love, friendships, and families today, what gives you hope?
Oh. I think ultimately like the kind of undying support that we have for one another. Like the world is obviously in complete and total disarray right now and even still I think like we've seen so much togetherness And like it makes me feel good about like humanity a little bit. It's like we can all at least unite against some of the wild things that are happening, and like it kind of ties back into what I was saying earlier. Like love is a defining force for that. Like we decided that we should choose to love one another, whether that means people we know or people we don't, or people we've never seen, or people we can't speak the same language as. You know? Yeah. Thank you.
I feel like that's a great place to wrap up. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming in. And
I'm glad I could chat with y'all.
now, next, we have a couple announcements to make. First, the Free Library Organization primarily refers to the Free Library of Philadelphia, a major public library system advancing literacy, learning, and curiosity through numerous physical and digital resources, community programs like after school ones, job seeker workshops, and special collections supported by the nonprofit Free Library Foundation and Friends of the Free Library. It is a large historic institution serving all Philadelphians, offering free access to books, e-resources, Wi-Fi, and cultural events. If you want to get in contact with them, you can call 1-883-TALK FLP 825-5357. Juntos is a South Philadelphia-based, community-led organization advocating for human rights of Latin immigrants. Founded in 2002, it focuses on building power among workers, youth, and families to fight against the deportation industrial complex. They offer services like education, solitary banking, and mutual aid while pushing for dignity regardless of status. They are currently accepting applications for spring interns and are located at 600 Washington Avenue, Unit 18UA2. Their number is 215-218-9079. That concludes our announcements, and I think we've had a great show so far. I think we're ready to wrap up.